Hello, internets, and thank you for joining me today. The Wayans brothers formed a certain segment of my childhood that I struggle to define, so I won't try. But I did wear out a DVD copy of Don't Be a Menace to South Central while drinking your juice in the hood. Major Pain was a frequent rental for me and my family. I'm not sure why we never bought that one. And My Wife and Kids was something that I tuned into every Wednesday because, damn it, Damon Wayans can make me laugh and melt my icy ass heart. But seriously, I hear people wax nostalgic about George Lopez all the time, but no one loves Michael Kyle. For shame, America. For shame. Also, I never watched White Chicks, which is, like a really popular Wayans brother movie, and people seem to like it, but it's never reached the top of my list, so I just haven't gotten around to it. And I say all of this to say that by the time that I saw the first Scary Movie, I couldn't be more primed for it, and it made itself a staple of my teenage comedic sensibilities from that time frame on. And then Scary Movie 2 came along, and it joined its predecessor as a certified classic in my mind. However, after the third movie came and went, I found myself not really interested in it, and it kind of turned me off to the whole series, and I never returned to see Scary Movie 4. And while taking my notes for this movie, I called it Scary Movie 5 the entire time because I didn't care enough about this series to know that they had already made that shit and I had just never seen it. So, what did I think of the, unbeknownst to me, sixth entry in the series? Well, I'm over a paragraph in trying to not talk about this turd, so you should be able to extrapolate from that I didn't care much for it. Like my mom with me. Now, the one reaction you don't want from your audience for your comedy movie is the feeling of boredom. But I literally had to force myself to keep watching this thing, and I had to pause and take breaks during the runtime because I kept falling asleep. It was only out of respect to the original creators that I feel like I've demonstrated that I even toughed it out till the credits rolled. Now, if that's all you need to make an informed decision on your movie making preferences, then I'll see you next time. Sayonara, bitch. But if you want to join me, I'll be here trying to make sense of how this all happened. Alright, so for those of you that stayed through that, let me start off by saying that when I started taking notes, I was hoping to structure them in a way that I could make a better summary of the plot for this review. Unfortunately, the Wayans had other plans, because they didn't make a plot at all. Scenes just kind of happen, not connecting to each other or anything like that. And you're supposed to get the jokes that they're telling because it's a movie reference, and that's supposed to be funny on its own for some reason. But spoiler alert, it's fucking not. Alright, but for what it's worth, this is the plot, and it goes something like this. So the ghost face killer from the original Scary Movie is back, trying to kill the daughter of Cindy from the first movie, and this drags a very paranoid Cindy and all of the original cast back to try to solve the mystery of who is the killer while avoiding getting killed themselves. Is that literally it, you might ask? And yes, that literally is it. I can literally fit the entire plot of this movie into one sentence because that's all there is. Every other second that isn't part of this premise is just a reference with no payoff, a punchline with no setup, or a joke with zero context. And for that, I feel like this may be the laziest film I have ever seen. Now, keep in mind the staggering number of shit films I have seen, the asylum garbage I have walked through, and the complete lack of editing in almost every one of my videos, and I still feel like this film goes up there with some of the laziest of all time. And to demonstrate this point, let me walk you through the Get Out reference that's in this thing. So the character Shorty walks in, and the Ghostface killer is drinking tea, sitting in a chair, just like they do in Get Out. That's the setup. It's the most iconic scene from that movie, so if you've seen it, it makes sense. And there's a not terrible joke about Shorty scratching the chair anxiously, which is something that happens in that movie, and the joke isn't awful. But then after he gets hypnotized, he sinks down in the chair, just like in Get Out, and then suddenly the movie goes into this animated sequence that parodies K-pop Demon Hunters and the song Golden from that soundtrack. And it's just about smoking weed. It isn't very funny, it isn't clever, and to be honest, it's very poorly animated. And then the scene ends with Shorty waking up, it's all been a dream, presumably, and he's really high. And then there's 3 women with him in the bed, and before the scene ends, he mugs at the camera and insinuates that he's going to have sex with the 3 women again. End scene. That's the whole thing. It's like 6 to 8 minutes of your life with no context around it, and they didn't even have the decency to tell you any good jokes that you could laugh at. And this is frustrating because I get that Shorty is the stoner character. That's like been his whole thing for the 3 movies he's been in. But you can't think of any other funny jokes. I mean, there's a scene in the first movie, which I'm going to get back to the first movie and my thoughts on it. But in the first movie, there's that scene where Bobby is revealed to be the killer, and he turns around and reveals that he has a gun and goes to shoot Shorty. He shoots him in the lung, and oh my God, Shorty's such a stoner that there's a whole bunch of weed smoke in his lung. And he asks right before he dies, his dying breath is used to ask Cindy if she wants to take a hit off that. Like, that's not the most laugh out loud funny joke that anyone's ever thought of, but you could tell that there was a setup, there was a payoff, and there was a punchline to the joke. Like, yes, we have established that Shorty is the stoner and that he smokes a lot of weed, and then we do something with it. Like, it's at least creative. It's at least something. And with this movie, I'm getting nothing. And that's what's driving me crazy. I'm getting a little rabid here because I'm going off script, and just thinking about this movie is making me go that banana fucking sandwich here. But I do want to continue going off script since I'm already off script, and I want to tell you one of the jokes from the Naked Gun remake, right? The one with Liam Neeson and the other guy, and Pamela Anderson and the other guy, and etc., so on and so forth. Anyway, in the new Naked Gun reboot, there's a part where they find a car that had swerved off the road, and it was connected to the case, so they had to go investigate it. By the time that they got done investigating that, there was this little moment that made zero fucking sense, and it was just a part of it to be a joke, right? And that was that essentially the people that are trying to recover the car end up using a crane as like a claw machine, and there's all the music and stuff like that, and then they drop the car, and that's the whole joke. It's not gonna make me laugh so hard that I come in my pants, but I can at least acknowledge that that joke had like some effort. Somebody thought about that joke. Somebody took time out of their day and considered that there would be an audience of people watching this fucking movie and made a joke that fit within the scene. And this K-pop Demon Hunter thing is the perfect microcosm of why this movie is so shitty, because it doesn't fit in any scene, it comes out of left field, and no one ever brings it up again. I don't want every joke to land. I'm not asking that of any given movie. But what I am asking is you to put the bare fucking minimum effort into making a joke, to making me laugh, to consider that I might want to actually enjoy the movie I'm watching instead of a bunch of disconnected fucking SNL skits. Alright, so if anybody made it to this part of the video, and if anybody's interested this deep into the video, I did kind of get a giggle 2 or 3 times, and for reference, those few times were, number 1, the Sinners reference, where no one really liked the Move It On Up cover. I thought that that was kind of funny. Number 2, at the very, very, very end, spoiler warning, I guess, if you fucking care, but at the very end of the movie, all of the new shitty characters died, and the legacy characters were the only ones that didn't, and I thought that was kind of funny. And number 3, when the insufferable new activist chick got murdered on the subway. I thought that was kind of funny. All the references sucked, but I thought people just getting fed up with her was funny. And actually, that last one was fucking ruined for me by rewatching the first one because it's a recycled joke. It's the same joke from the first one where Brenda is in the movie theater and she's talking too loud. Everyone gets pissed off and just murders the shit out of her, and Ghostface doesn't need to do anything. Yeah, it's the same joke, but I still laughed at the time, so I guess that works. Because you see, I had to rewatch that original movie because after watching Scary Movie 6, I was legitimately worried that I had a false memory, or I was looking back at the original two movies as, these classics that were never going to live up to that. But after watching that original movie, I can say that the original holds up. It's still great, and this thing just fucking sucks. And I was also able to pinpoint exactly why it fucking sucks. Because in the original, as well as almost every other great parody movie, it has a plot. It might be a thin plot, and it's probably a plot that they ripped off from the movie that they're parodying, but it's still a plot. And they take the skeleton of that idea and then just make jokes in every scene. But the scenes still connect to each other, and they still form something of a story, which Scary Movie 6 doesn't do. It's really a balancing act with these parody movies, and Scary Movie 6 didn't even fucking try to balance that. They didn't even attempt to bring in an idea of balancing it. It's just a series of jokes that won't make you laugh and don't make a good movie. It's honestly hard to get through. I cannot recommend it. That's all I've got to say for this one. If you like this video, show me by leaving a like, subscribe if you haven't subscribed yet, and until next time, sayonara, bitches.